Hey, yo, welcome to DDS, Detroit Raw, White Boy Rick.
I did a lot of good things as a child, but I did a lot of bad things. And when you're a kid, I guess I was taking the bad things to do some of the good things that I was doing. You know, I run into people all the time that say, oh, I remember you used to buy stuff for the neighborhood or stop the ice cream truck and pay. But I was doing bad things to be able to do those good things. But being a child, you really don't look at it like that. Not only did I do it as a child, I was pushed into it by law enforcement. Let's not forget that. So the things that I went through and I did, a lot of those things I was taught to do by those who took the oath to serve and protect.
Detroit was good, man. Welcome to DDS, the voice of Detroit. Today on Detroit Raw, we focusing on White Boy Rick. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, I hope you will be by the end of this video. Richard Worsey Jr. grew up with his working class family on the east side of Detroit during the height of the drug war. At this point in time, Detroit was known as the murder capital of America, due almost exclusively to its heightened violence that accompanied the crack epidemic. Richard Worsey Sr. was an illegal arms dealer. The movie claims that Worsey Jr. was pressured to become a drug snitch to protect his dad from some gun charges. It is true that Worsey Sr. was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for illegal gun possession. But according to those actually involved, it wasn't about protection. It was all about the money.
Born on Hayes and Mogul, it doesn't mean that you should have the disadvantage that you might end up in prison 50% more or 100 times more than another person. Just because, 10 miles away is Grosse Pointe. Those kids have a huge advantage over the youth of where we're standing right now. So you can do it from here. You just need that push.
In actuality, the FBI was able to learn through surveillance footage and informant tips that Worsey Jr. had frequently visited the home of the Curry brothers, a black drug family of dealers who ended up on the FBI radar because the leader, Johnny Curry, was engaged to the niece of Detroit Mayor Coleman Young. At the time, Rick's sister, Dawn, a drug addict, had gone missing, and Worsey Sr. reached out to Detroit FBI agents looking for help. The FBI then came back with an offer, and both Worsey Sr. and Jr. will become informants to get Dawn back and will be paid for any information provided. Despite Worsey Jr.'s young age, Worsey Sr. absolutely offered his son to the FBI to make money regardless of how dangerous it would be for the teenager to invade the underbelly of Detroit's drug ring. White Boy Rick was a nickname given to Worsey Jr. on the streets, but in reality is that it was a moniker given to him by the press. At the time, Worsey Jr. was the most productive drug informant the FBI had ever seen. But things took a turn when he informed his handler, Agent Groman, that he was present when the two members of the Curry gang admitted they inadvertently killed a 13-year-old boy during a drug money dispute with the child's uncle. This led to the FBI realizing the Detroit Police Department was botching the information and the investigation to try and keep the mayor's niece away from possibly having to serve as a trial witness. This was clear. A clear case of obstruction of justice, but making a case against the Detroit Police Department will require the FBI to admit they were utilizing the insistence of an underage informant. The FBI had also falsified documents applying the information provided by Worsey Jr. to make it look like it came from Worsey Sr. Everything was turning into corrupt chaos, and the FBI soon dropped him from his role as an informant.
I love what they're doing with downtown. I just want it to come into the neighborhoods. Listen, the people that are in charge now, what they're doing, I take my hat off to them. They're trying to make it a better city. They're trying to make it a more beautiful city. We just need to bring that into the neighborhoods a little bit more.
A little bit faster, too.
A little bit faster, a little bit more. Like the properties, these abandoned buildings, we need to get rid of them. Let's tear them down, let's start over. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and I don't think Detroit will be rebuilt in a day. But I like what I see.
At 17 years of age, just 3 years after the FBI had used him as an informant, Worshie Jr. was sentenced to life in prison. In Michigan, under the state 650 lifer law, a statute that means anyone found in possession of more than 650 grams, 23 ounces, of cocaine or heroin would get life imprisonment without parole. The law was overturned, but as Worshie Jr. was also involved in the 2008 car theft ring from behind bars, he wasn't released from custody until July 2020. White boy Rick now, as an entrepreneur, he's working on a documentary. I spoke with him briefly about, I don't know, maybe about 3-4 weeks ago. And he also has out a cannabis product called The Eighth. It's available at all your local dispensaries. I want to thank everybody for coming out. This is the White Boy Rick story, Detroit Raw, DDS, man. I'll see y'all next time. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and tap that thing, man. We up.